Can start video. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on this webinar this evening. The Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce and Sonover Limited are pleased to be discussing with you building resilience with e-commerce. So before we dive right in, we're just going to give a little bit of background on the two organizations so you have an idea of who's speaking to you and what we're speaking about. So who is the Grenada Chamber? The Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce is the oldest and most recognized private sector organization in Grenada. The first meeting was held in 1920, and we have traditionally been known as the voice of the Grenadian private sector. We are the point of contact for regional and international organizations seeking to gather information about the Grenadian private sector, and we boast a membership of private sector organizations that span across all sectors and range in sizes from micro to medium and large organizations as well. The role of the Chamber is to ensure that the private sector is considered in areas of national importance. And this is achieved through our representation on every national statutory board and committee, and also having a senator represent us at that level. We provide our members with advocacy, access, and advertisement. We collaborate with organizations across sectors and gather data, which we then analyze and use to provide the government with feedback to assist in the development of national policies and regulations. It is our duty to stay informed and keep our members up to date on regional and international trends, best practices, and the opportunities that are available to them so that they can improve the capacity of their organizations and contribute to an enriching, lively, and sustainable private sector. So our members benefit in many ways. We advocate with them on various levels. Like I said, we provide them access to regional and international networks, information, webinars, workshops, and trainings. Any information that comes through the Secretariat that we think would be beneficial to our members, we provide that information and those opportunities to them. We like to engage with our members one-on-one so that we're helping them find solutions for the challenges that they encounter. And we give them advertisements. So we put them in places like our website, our Facebook, and our annual report and other publications that we do that give them visibility throughout the private sector. So that's just a little bit of history on the Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And as we progress through the webinar, we will have a portion of the webinar that is for question and answers. So we can answer any question that you might have concerning the Grenada Chamber. You can also put the questions in the chat as well, and then we can get back to those questions when we get to the question and answer segment of the webinar. So I hope you guys are excited. We're going to start now to talk about what brought the Grenada Chamber and Sonover together and focusing on this important concept of digitization and introducing the private sector to e-commerce. So Sonover Limited is a member of the Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce, and we have been working with them over the years in various initiatives, sharing information, and just providing whatever support that we could in the operations that they were conducting. So when Chad Fraser, the CEO of Sonover, spoke to us and started telling us about this awesome application he was developing, we were so happy and eager to get involved and provide whatever support that we could to ensure a successful launch of this application. So hopefully everyone on this call today knows what application I'm talking about. It's the Tada app. Hopefully you've seen it at the entrance of businesses and shops that you have been visiting. And if you don't, I'm just going to go ahead and give like a brief overview because Chad is going to come and talk about this in depth a bit more and the benefits and what they offer. But I'll just give you a little idea. Tada is a multi-dimensional app that is used to help us mitigate some of the challenges that we're facing due to COVID. So it helps you reduce person-to-person contact and use personalized QR codes to speed up the signing process at various locations throughout Grenada. But that's not where it stops. Tada also provides a digital storefront for Grenadian businesses that allows customers to engage directly and browse, see what products they offer, and really see what's available here locally in Grenada. So it provides a great place for customers to review their favorite spots, to see what's new, and for businesses to get an idea of their consumer behaviors and ways they can engage with customers to improve the delivery of their good and service. So when Chad came to us about the app, we started discussing how can we support this, especially as the application itself was fulfilling some of the objectives outlined in the 2019 micro, small, and medium enterprise policy. So the Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we are committed to taking part in activities that uplift the entire private sector. Our activities never discriminate on the beneficiaries. So when we see firms like Sonover who are actively working towards transforming the private sector with these kinds of activities, we are happy to provide that support and get them out there so that people know about them, how to use them, and what are the benefits. So this webinar is the first of two webinars that we're going to be conducting in collaboration with Sonover. And we have also collaborated with them on some how-to videos that will be released later on that helps the users of the TADA application get some step-by-step information and guidance on how they can really utilize TADA in an optimal way to benefit their organization. So I hope you guys are excited as I am. And I'm going to hand you over now to Mr. Chad Fraser, who is the CEO of Sonover, so he can start to talk with you about the benefits of digitization, entering e-commerce, and how it helps build resilience throughout your organization. And then he'll talk a little bit also about his relationship with the chamber and the processes we've been going through.
Hi, good day, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great. Um, Thank you for taking the time to come, and I look forward to really engaging and sharing here today on building resilience with e-commerce. We're going to also talk a little bit about digital um, transformation, which is, given the time that we're in, is very, very important. As a matter of fact, it's a requirement now, given our current limitations, due to COVID. All right. It would be one of good learning. We could give you some guidance as to how you go about digitally transforming your business, adding a little taste of digital to enhance the customer experience and develop long-term relationship with customers that would take us through those times now, especially when things are not when we don't have that freedom to remain in contact with them, as we know with the lockdowns and so forth. All right, so now we're going to take you into the presentation. But before we go, just a little bit on Sonova. We're a software company based here. We offer ICT consulting solutions and consulting services, software development, integration, and maintenance and monitoring. Now let's talk a little bit about resilience. Now, what does that mean, right? Now, resilience really simply refers to the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, right? And if we look at the difficulties that we're currently facing, we realize that the main one is reduction in access to market. All right, we have lower walk-in traffic due to many factors. You have lower product and brand visibility. So now businesses have to find a new way to engage and to really make their brand visible to the target market. And finally, because of those, you also have less spending power. Other persons are unemployed now, and persons are looking for the most affordable solutions. The question is, how do you create a more affordable solution? And then we're gonna look into that shortly and see how digital transformation can help. And finally, we have, due to most all these factors here, it does result in less revenue generation, less sales. So what are the current opportunities? Um, we have increased comfort in buying online. Now, I remember many years ago, persons were very reluctant to enter their data online, to buy online. Usually, we end up going to vendors like people like Hankies and others to really transact online. Now, more people are comfortable putting in their card details and buying stuff online. We have a more connected population. Digital mobile penetration in Grenada is really, really high. In fact, we have more mobile phones in Grenada than we have people. It's actually over 100%. Yeah, so it presents a unique opportunity. And also, data connectivity is very, very high as well. So you would think people have phones but not don't have data, but I think it's already over 70%. So, and finally, we have more and more tools available today for marketing. Free marketing. We have social networks and so forth that people are leveraging. So we have all the tools are there now. It comes down to how you go about utilizing those tools to get the benefits that they will bring. So what are some of the trends that we're seeing? Now, digital is a must. Before COVID, it was probably a optional thing, but now going for digital is a must. No matter what type of business you're in, whether you're a service provider, whether you sell products, whether you're an artisan, you make paintings, you make soap, you make anything you're doing these days, some form of digital presence or digital offering is a must, right? So we've seen more companies looking at it. Finally, you have companies are exchanging square feet for gigabytes. And what that means is that persons are moving away from the physical and creating, adding digital, really. And we realize that experience doesn't is not only limited to the customers. We're seeing businesses offering that to the employees as well with remote work opportunities. And in fact, a lot of companies are reporting increased productivity due to that migration from the premise to online. And these are opportunities that we could take advantage of, especially the remote work opportunity. It does bring some cost savings to businesses. So if there is a way you can move away, and also we realize that with persons working remotely, that you lessen the need for that amount of square footage. So it could indirectly result in significant savings. And with that, businesses can now consider offering services, products at lower prices. And in 2020, we've seen an increase in e-commerce transactions from 33% regionally. So that's very significant, and it's an opportunity. We see that it's not something that businesses are doing that people are not interested. People are very, very interested in consuming services online or buying products online. Now, digital transformation, what is it? So let's spend some time thinking about your perception of digital transformation now. You know, most people think that it's adding technology to the operation. Many also believe that it's about, training or offering some digital service. But digital transformation goes beyond that. Digital transformation is not a technology decision, or the decision to go to implement a digital transformation strategy is not a technology decision. It's a business strategy decision. Because what it affects is really how the business at its core operates. So the formal definition of digital transformation is the adoption of digital technology to transform services of businesses. So you realize it goes beyond the adoption of technology. It doesn't stop there. it has to be adoption of technology with a specific purpose of transforming the business. All right, and that could be done either through replacing non-digital and manual processes with digital ones, or upgrading the old digital technologies. All right, so imagine, fax, for example, is digital. Um, so, even though it's a technology, but it goes into, it spans upgrading those archaic, much older technologies with newer ones that really transform the business. Now, service providers on the call, I saw a bunch of you are probably wondering how can, as a service provider, how can I create a digital offering? How can I digitally transform my business? Right? And that takes us to something what we refer to digitizing of a service. So, and again, it's not something that it requires a more in-depth look at the business to see what offering, what part of the offering can be productized. Sorry. All right. So if, for example, you're offering consulting services, um, how can you probably productize that service in the form of a interactive course, or some form of interactive service that could be packaged and offered online digitally. Very, very important for digital transformation is scale. All right. So whatever service or product you're offering online, it must be something that's scalable. So if um, I see Dawn on the call, Dawn is offering, for those of you who don't know, she offers coaching services, right? Um, if for every customer that engages online, she has to book 2 hours of her time on a daily basis to offer that, you realize it's not as scalable. However, if you package a service like that into an interactive app or an interactive website where someone could engage and really get the value that you're providing, a service like that you can offer even while you're sleeping, and it's much more scalable. And so those are the types of decision. It really takes the business and a whole from what it is and transform it into a digital offering. And that's the kind of scenarios we're referring to when we speak about digital transformation. Really looking at the offer and saying how can we create a digital um, product that would deliver a similar value. Very, very, very important to understand what it means, so you can start thinking critically about it when you think about how you can adapt. All right, so there are three major considerations when looking at digital transformation. The first is people. All right, people, and the question here is, do you have the correct competencies for the new offering? So if you're an individual, do you have access to the people that possess the knowledge and the skill to really help you digitally transform? So it doesn't mean that you have to have that amount of employees. We refer to competencies, meaning that you can outsource that competence. So if you're not competent in marketing, for example, this is something that you can outsourcing of the marketing is something you can consider to get the right competencies on board. Then you have process, and the process here really looks at into the business. Do you have the correct processes in place to support the new offering? So if, for example, before you're offering online coaching services, right? And now you're moving to an online offering, the support that you need to provide to the people will be very different. Now, instead of scaling on coaches, or you scaling your time and focusing more on the coaches, you may need to provide more technical support for persons who are now engaged in your app and so forth, and do your the processes that you used before to offer the whatever you're offering now may not be a perfect fit for a digital offering. So really looking at the processes that you have in place. if you're a product vendor, for example, I see Mr. Hanky on the call. If you're a product vendor, you sell in your store currently. Now someone walks in, they will pick the product from the shelf and go and cash it out. So the process is very different. You go ahead, you have teams that will stock the shelves and so forth and so forth. Now, if you're going to offer an e-commerce option, the skills and the processes would be very different. Now you'd have a process for verifying um, uh, um, the order with the customer. You'd have a process for picking the products from the shelves and so forth, packaging it for delivery if you offer delivery. So it really, you need to get into the process that that will be required for that new offering. And it really takes an introspection into the business, really looking into the business, what we're going to offer, how we're going to offer it, and looking and ensuring that the processes are in line for offering um, for launching that offering. And finally, the technology. Right? Do you have the correct technology to offer that new product or new service online? All right, so the three is people, process, and technology. These are the three considerations. And then we'll look at how that plays in when you're creating an e-commerce offering. And there are some very critical questions that you need to answer, and we're going to look at them. All right, so what is e-commerce? E-commerce is the activity of electronically buying or selling of products online using an online service or over the internet. Right? So that's what the definition is. Now we're going to take e-commerce and fit it into that framework, as you may, people, process, and technology, and see how we can apply that to an e-commerce offering. And e-commerce is just one of the ways you can digitally transform your business. Right? Just creating an e-commerce offering actually can significantly change the business on a whole. Um, so we're going to look at that. There are other transformative offerings you can create. You can do things like we have software as a service, SaaS as we call it, where it's almost like a subscription. So that's another approach. We're not going to delve too much into it today, but if there is enough interest, we're going to give you the opportunity to indicate what you're interested in digging deeper in. But if there's enough interest in software as a service or SaaS as we call it, you can indicate that in the questionnaire that will be circulated after the presentation. So this is how it fits in. Remember, we have people, process, and technology. So if you're going to look at people, what are some of the questions that you would ask to know if you're ready, or the questions you would ask in putting together a strategy for launching an e-commerce offering? Who would be responsible for processing orders? That's an example. So you're receiving orders online. Who would be responsible for processing orders? Who would be responsible for customer support? All right? Because now with the e-commerce offering, you need to provide some form of customer support. Who would process returns? With a physical offering, you usually would have returns. And who will get the product to the customer? These are some questions. Now, based on your business, you can add or subtract to that. So if you sell an information product, for example, or a course or some form of digital product, then the questions might be very different. You may not be processing returns, maybe you may be processing refunds, and those kinds of things. But the questions, those are the types of questions you would ask as it relates to the people. But remember, the keyword here is who. The who here is very, very important. The set on a process, you see the question changes from who now to a how, right? So on that process, some of the questions you would ask is how would orders be processed? So before you're asking who would process it, now on that process you're asking how would they be processed? All right, and then each of these we can dig deeper. Um, Another question is, are we going to offer order confirmation if you're doing it online? So if you're, and that comes onto the business. If you're a business that's processing a lot and you have proper inventory management in place and everything is well connected and automated, you may not need to confirm an order before payments is processed. But if you're small and you're just getting started, you may not have that level of integration with your inventory systems and so forth. You may want to confirm orders and so forth. Now, what's the process for that? When an order comes in, do somebody go and check the system to ensure that we have it in stock before we confirm? Those sort of processes we have to put in place. That's one of the questions. How would you provide customer support? What type of ticketing system would you use? We're going to dig deeper into that question. How would you process returns? How would you get the product to the customer? All right, so these are all process related, and you realize it's the same things we're answering, instead we're asking how as opposed to who for people. And finally is the technology. And when speaking of technology, you're really asking what are you going to use? All right, so what are we going to use to manage product listings online? What are we going to use to take customer orders? And what are we going to use to keep customers up to date on the status of the order and so forth? What are we going to use to accept payments? All right, and what are we going to use to market that new offer online? Now, I must say, launching an e-commerce offering is not about creating it. It's not a technical question only. The technical is only half of the work. Marketing it is the other half. Because you could create an e-commerce offering and no one knows that they could go and order from you online now. All right, and it's very, very important that as a business to get the most value from that transformation initiative, you really cater for marketing and letting people know that this new offering is available. All right, very, very important. So now I would like to introduce you to Tether. Now, Tether, today's presentation looks at the technology question, and this is what we're going to focus on answering. Now, for the other questions, with the chamber, working with the chamber, we are going to provide some support for those questions. So if you want to dig deeper into putting a strategy in place and you want to get these questions, you want to help in figuring out those questions or figure out what are the correct questions you should be asking as it relates to people and process, then they will be able to provide the requisite support to help you dig deeper and really come up with a strategy that would work. Right? So let's introduce you to Tether. So Tether is, as Mariel mentioned, it's a multi-purpose mobile app platform. It provides QR code check-in, reservations, e-commerce, and data analytics. But the whole concept behind it is really being able to provide a digital experience, whether the person is online or on your premise, right? So it's really infusing digital into what you're offering. All right. So Tether is the easiest and most affordable way to create a digital experience for your customers, both online and on premise. All right. And the philosophy behind developing Tether is that one, it should be very, very easy to use. And I'm hoping that we've achieved that. Based on the feedback so far, we think we have, but again, we're always open to getting additional feedback and really learning from the users. It should be secure, follow all the best practices for securing connectivity, encryption, and so forth, just to ensure that it's a secure platform. And it should be comprehensive. One of the things we believe in is that whatever it does, it should do it properly. And we would see that later on as we do a demo of the platform. All right, so Tether, as I said, covers two experiences. The on-premise experience here refers to when person visits your business place, right? Your business premise. The idea of the on-premise experience is to stimulate customers into further engaging with your offering while they're at your store or at a physical location. The first of those is the QR code checking. And that's it's a check-in system where users who have the app could scan your QR code. You can, as a business, print your QR codes and put it up in your business. And as person enter, they can check in. All right. Now you can use that for your contact tracing purposes, but the idea is to use it also to further engage customers while they're at your premise. All right. So once a user checks in, if you're a restaurant, for example, they have access to your menu inside the app once they checked in. If you're not a restaurant, but you have an e-commerce, you have e-commerce enabled in the app, they'll be able to browse the online version of your store. And later on, we add in product, being able to scan QR codes and products and get additional information and so forth. But the idea is to really create a really good um, experience online. I'd like to add as well, you see, we said on-premise e-commerce. Yes. So it's a form of e-commerce where your persons who are at your premise are buying online. And I use the example. Let's say you're a restaurant, right? And you have your menu on Tether. You put up all your menu items. Persons could actually buy your menu items through the app, right? They could pick the items that they want. They say they want, whatever. They pick it, they add it to their cart, they check out, but they indicate that they're having it at a particular table, all right? And it's e-commerce because it's happening digitally. Remember the definition of e-commerce, but it's e-commerce with persons who are actually on at your location. And that's a very valid case, a very valid form of e-commerce, especially now with COVID and so forth. So we wanted to cater for all forms of e-commerce, including the on-premise experience.
And so right now I wanted to interject, Chad, because I feel like that's such a really important thing, understanding that e-commerce doesn't directly just apply to exchange of payment. So having e-commerce too, I had asked Chad earlier if being able to pay on pickup counts as e-commerce, and he was like, definitely, because if you're ordering the product online and communicating and stuff via the system that was created, the digital system, then it counts as e-commerce. So I thought that this was a really good moment to just clarify that for persons on the call, because I didn't know earlier, and I think it's so useful. So you're not counted out if you can't take payments online. You're included. You're taking part in e-commerce.
Yes, and that's very important to understand. Yeah, thanks for interjecting there. Yeah, e-commerce goes beyond. So it's, remember, it's trade, and trade is exchange of good for some form of payment, or good or service or some form of payment. So a commitment to pay online counts as well. All right. Um, and so for the online part, it's a business directory, because once you go on there, you put in your business information. Persons in the app could look up and find the business and so forth, and get details, patronize your online store. And if you're not a product vendor, they could really learn about the services that you're offering and so forth. Um, one of the rules, because we try to make a distinction between product and service, but they're very, very similar. I think now there are services that you can't really price and put a price online because it depends on the scenarios. But a lot of many services have fixed prices. Some of them, and in Tether's case, you don't have to include a price, right? So you could put in the other information around the service that you offer, and have it visible to visitors to the of the site. Um, yes. All right. One of the things that we didn't write here is that customers can also rate and leave reviews on your business. So a lot of buyers like to read reviews before they engage a service or product online, especially service providers, because it's not something if somebody could show or look at or take photos of, really. Services really comes down to how people feel after engaging you. So having persons be able to leave a review on your business, we think would be yeah, we think also is very handy for buyers making that decision. Community building. Now in TEDA, we have the ability for you to a person to follow you. All right. When you say community building, what we really mean is you developing a following. You're developing persons who would vouch for your service, persons who would really market for you indirectly by speaking about your service. So we believe that that's right now, especially with given COVID situation, building that community um, and engaging them is very, very important. You can use whatever platform, and we have integrations with Facebook, WhatsApp, and all the other platforms for you to really engage the community wherever they are. But we do support building the community within Tether itself. So you can have persons follow your business. When they scan your QR code and entry, you could encourage them to follow you. And once they do, then you can later on engage them with posts, post photos to them, send them content, and so forth. And finally, we have e-commerce support. All right, so you have the whole check-in, checkout process. Checkout process. You can develop your product listing and have it beautifully displayed. Now, people usually will come across it and wonder if it's a local app. We have quality locally, and it's one of a big part of the development was really emphasizing the look and feel. You know, it has to feel attractive. The products have to be listed and look really well because at the end of the day, businesses are looking to attract buyers, right? So they want the display to be beautiful, and we spent a lot of time creating a beautiful visual experience for the visitors. And finally, marketing. Right, Tela is a marketplace in itself. So when persons go onto the homepage, they could engage with your promotions and so forth that you have going on. All right. So those are the four areas that Tela covers. All right. So now we would engage you. Okay. Yeah. So now I would like to give you just a quick give me the host. I would like to give you a quick demo on it to see what it looks like. For those of you who haven't downloaded Tela yet, I think now is a good opportunity to. Right. So you can follow along and engage with it and see what it looks like. But
you can find it in your Google Play Store or your Apple App Store.
Okay, so you can find it in your App Store or the Google Play Store. So I'm about to share my screen with you. All right, so this is what Tether looks like. Once you download it, that's what it looks like. On the top, you can see the latest products. Remember, I mentioned it's a marketplace. So when you go up there, you put in your products. Persons will go onto the app and see the latest things that are being posted on Tether. So they can click. So I could click on these here and get further details. I can engage with the photos and so forth. All right. Some of them have the e-commerce enabled. So for these, you realize you could check out, you could add to cart, change add the quantity and so forth, and really and literally buy these products online. Now the businesses have the ability to configure the delivery options, and it's dynamic. You can really you could configure if you want to allow pickups. You can configure if you want to do delivery. You can specify the parameters for that delivery service. If there's a charge for the delivery, you can configure all those parameters in there. So really, right below that is your today's feature. That's a marketing opportunity here for you. And because I'm following many businesses, following that, I would see posts from those businesses. So they can post content similar to what they do on Facebook. We've seen a lot of businesses now adding Tether as part of the marketing strategy for engaging customers. Now remember, Tether is a very focused. Your Tether users are very focused in that it's very niche in that these are users who came to your business, they probably bought from you before, and now, so the messaging you would have for them might be different from what you post on Facebook because you know these are business persons who would have bought from you in the past. So just scrolling through so you can see some of the businesses I'm following. Um, and they're posting content every day. So beautiful. One of the things I find with Tether is that you have a lot of artisans. You have persons who make stuff with their hands. So this here, for example, is made with from a young lady from St. David's side and beautiful designs that are handmade. So birthday gifts, anniversary gifts, if you want something that's unique that nobody else will be walking around with, you come to Tether and you could engage some of the businesses there for something very special. So you also have a place, let me move this, where you can browse businesses and products. Now we have over in Tether right now, we have over 230 businesses, um, many of and growing. The user base is over well close to 2,000. I think it's closer to 1,009 something, 1,008 something, 1,009 something, and it's growing daily by about 50 users. So if you have a product on Tether, you already got an audience that you can sell to over of close to 2,000 people who will see what you're promoting. So it's a power marketplace really. Um, so I'll just show you how you go about configuring. Now in Tether, you have the ability to have multiple businesses. So if you're a business, you have multiple branches, you can put that in there so persons can pick up at a particular branch and so forth and so forth. All right. Now I'm going to show you what where you can add once you go into a profile. Let me go to one of my favorite Tether stores. I bought plants from them recently, Bush. Um, Let me just take you to this profile. So when you go into the profile, you realize it's a very rich experience. You can see the latest products that they added on there. You have a description, you have the industry, and you can really see the location. So if you want to get to that location, you can click on it and get directions and so forth to there. And then you scroll down and you can see all the latest products and offer and posts from that particular provider. You can view ratings, all right? So you can see ratings and reviews and so forth. And if you go to shopping, then you can see the catalog. That's where all the services, all the products are listed. And I can click on um, any one of these products to get more details. All right. And if I really enjoy it, which I do, I can come here and share it. I can share it on my WhatsApp. I can share it on my Facebook, Twitter. So I can say, remember we said marketing is one of the important pillars for launching an e-commerce offering. So now I can now integrate that into my social groups, my social media page, and share that content. So now I can leave a comment here and say, I actually have this particular product on my desk in the office, so I can say, um, a great companion. All right, it's a great companion, and I can post this, and it's posted on my Facebook. If you go to my Facebook, you'll see that. And now someone could engage that product on Facebook. They can click on it and be taken back to Tether where they can buy that product. So if you can put your product on there, you can share it on your Facebook, and when people click on it on Facebook, instead of having to message you and so forth, they can just click on it, be taken to Tether where they can check out and buy your product directly online. A really, really interesting integration. And we're going to work on more of these integrations where, we allow you to post on more social networks. Um, so that's a brief roundup on the e-commerce part of it. Now, there is much more we offer in terms of the analytics and so forth. Um, when persons scan into your business, being able to see the analytics there. Um, I'll just show you what that looks like. So if I go on Sonover, right, I can show you here. Well, I can't show you for privacy sake, but I can show you. You have all the options. So the admin manages that profile from right within Tether. Everything is within the app. So if you're a fisherman, you're a farmer, you don't need to leave the garden to post your product online. You could just take a photo right in the garden yourself, do a post on it, let people know that what you have, what you're offering, and it all happens within the app, right? So you can also, as a business, you have different people dealing with different things. You may have someone different dealing with the deliveries. Remember, we have the who will be doing what. You can configure all of that in Tether. All right, so you can assign different responsibilities, and now as the person's order, they know the right person will be notified when it's time for delivery. The right person will be notified that it's ready for delivery, and so forth and so forth. So it's a really we try to make it as comprehensive so that the users is not left wanting. Also, you could connect. So when someone comes on the app, if they want to engage a business, they say they want to contact Sonover. They don't need to get your number and copy it somewhere. They can just click on call, and right there we integrate it with the phone, so it can just call you right from within the app without having to write down the number or go somewhere else to make the call. So we try to make it very immersive, and we would really be excited to get your feedback on what we've done so far. But to do that, you need to register, add your business. I'll speak a little bit about what it costs because I know some of you are interested. It doesn't cost anything to get started with it. And we try to make it very, very easy. If you want to get started, you want to list some products, you want to engage your community, you want to build that, you want to you could do almost everything in Tether. You could do everything in Tether at no cost. You get the analytics and so forth. However, if you're a bigger business and you add in more than 3 products and you want to add up to 10 products, there's a small fee. It's almost free, but we can't make it free. All right, it's almost free. It's $60. You could add up to 30 products, and if you want to add up to 100 products, it scales up to around 250. That's the cheapest, the most affordable platform for going online. And it's part of the collaboration with Chamber. We try to make it so that all the members can get that resilience into the business um, with something that would work 24/7 in bringing them new sales and revenue and so forth. And we continue to build on it. Of course, we would like to build it along with you by getting the feedback and so forth as we've been getting to continue improving on it and so forth. All right, so we'll now end that part of the presentation. And yeah, we have a quick poll for you guys because we want to understand who's here. Um, okay. Well, we're very new. That's our first webinar, guys. So the Zoom polling we haven't got it figured out, but we'll send the questions in a follow up in the questionnaire we would send to you after this session. But we will invite you to. You got it? Yeah. Okay, so we invite you to do this poll, guys. If you figured it out. So it's very short, but we want to get an idea of who's on the webinar and so forth, and who's interested in yes. So go ahead and answer the poll on your screen. All right, we're going to give you about 5 more seconds. Okay. 5, okay. All right, so we see the responses from the poll. We can share the results with you. All right, so we see on the call we have more service providers, just a little more, 57% of you, and product, 43%. All right, we're gonna do. All right, so we have another question for you. 4 questions, so can you please answer this one first, please? So we know this one here, we're trying to understand where you are in a digital offering. Um, all right, we want to get an idea of where you are. If you're planning, if you have not, if you're not planning to do anything digital yet, maybe based on the type of business you have, see how exactly going digital will benefit you. Um, or if you're planning an offering, or if you're developing an offering, you need to get an idea of where you are in your planning. Mhm. Okay. Okay. Great. So I see we have some of you sent in your answers. We encourage you to participate, guys, because it would help us to be able to solve you better if there are ways you could help. If you're in the planning and you think you're stuck and getting to the next steps, or you're in development and you think you're stuck, then maybe we can help. We're all here to help. Okay, so we're gonna end this one in the next 5 seconds. Five, four, three, two, one. All right. So this it. We're gonna share the results with you so you can see where persons are. It's anonymous, so you don't your name and so forth. We don't capture that, so you can feel free to contribute, guys. So we see a lot of 36% of you are planning on developing an offering. Um, some of you, 14%, two of you are in implementation, and the other two have completed. Congratulations on your rollout. Now, just remember when you roll out a digital offering, it doesn't stop there. There is monitoring to happen. All right. So after you develop your launch, it's very important that you monitor it so that you would know if there are tweaks you need to make to it and so forth. All right. So we're gonna do another one. No, this one. This one would have answered in the in the um in the pool already. All right, and this is the last one. Go ahead and answer it first, please. All right, so this one here, we want to know if you're a member of the chamber already, and also if you'd like to be contacted by either Sonover or the the chamber um, about this webinar, or really just getting advice on something that you're working on. Um, we provide that kind of support. All right, so just indicate. All right, and then if you would like to be contacted, then someone from the chamber would contact you, and then you would indicate if you like technical help or if you want to get onto Tether and so on, then we would accommodate you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, so guys, we're gonna do okay. So we're gonna end this poll in five, four, three, two, one. Okay. Good. All right. We wouldn't share this one because we think it's a little more tailored to really just helping us figure out how we could solve you better. Let's hand back to Ariel for a few comments.
That was really, really informative, Chad. What great content. How very accessible, and it's easy to use information that you can actually apply to your business. It really helps you start thinking about how you can integrate digital solutions into your operations and really increase the efficiency and the effectiveness of the efforts that you are doing. Some pointers that really stood out to me about the TADA application that are so priceless for businesses, especially businesses navigating this post COVID or amid the COVID environment. It's really important. The following component of TADA. Now, that is so important because you get a better understanding of who your buyer is. And now you can understand not only who they are, but how do you market and tailor the delivery of your product or service to really attract the specific customer that loves your company or your business. So it gives you some deep insights that will really help you to grow your business in a sustainable manner, rooted in understanding and rooted in facts that will really help you to grow sustainably. Also, the cross-platform compatibility of TIDA. That makes it so easy to use and integrate into different processes. And it also increases the visibility and the reach of your organization. So that was a really, really cool aspect of TIDA that I really appreciated learning about today. The analytics, the insights, these are the kind of resources that we have here in Grenada that you can really leverage to build your business and your brand. So the Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we really want to encourage people to become aware of the resources that are available to you and make sure that you capitalize on them and you use them so that it can uplift your business and really improve the way we approach our livelihoods and providing services and goods within the Grenadian private sector. So that's all I really wanted to talk about before we dive into the question and answer. So I'm really happy for your contribution, guys, and Chad is going to go ahead and answer those questions now.
Okay, so we have some questions in the chat area. Um, okay, so Dawn asked, she also offers personal development and career coaching services. How can I offer a digital course? Right, so something like that, Dawn, you would start off by maybe recording some of the advice, maybe recording or maybe putting it in the form of a blog or a newsletter or some content. I'm not too sure exactly how your service works, but really packaging it up, I think would be very important. Converting that knowledge in your head to something that's easily shareable, so that you can, that's the first step. Once you have that, then you can go into TEDA, create a nice visualization for it, put it as a product. If there's a pricing or so, you put it on there. And then you could collect the information from the persons who are signing up. And then, you could engage them on whatever platforms you choose. Now, Zoom and so forth are available. So if it is, sorry, Zoom, we also have other cloud services where you can share content, so like Dropbox and so forth. So if you have content that's downloadable, you can easily share it using those platforms that doesn't cost much. All right, but within TEDA, you can really advertise it. You can make it visible to the base we have on the platform. But if you want to deep dive into it from a strategic perspective and figure out how exactly you can tailor your offering, I will invite you to contact Ariel at the chamber. She is very pumped up and excited about helping some of you get started digitizing and creating an offering. All right. Someone also asked, how are financial transactions handled in TEDA? Now, currently, we only support pay on delivery. So literally paying by cash or by check or by wherever on delivery, but we are working on implementing the e-commerce bit. We're going to be offering two modes. One is where you would be able to, if you're a merchant already, so let's say you're a bigger business and you have a merchant account, we will provide integration where the money could be sent directly to your merchant account. But you have to be using the 250 a month plan for direct merchant integration. The other one will be launching when we do is a third party merchant service where we would collect the money on your behalf if you're too small to have a merchant account and can get it directly into your account. And then we would, of course, clear on your behalf and so forth. So that's something we'll speak more about later on. Once it becomes available, maybe once it becomes available, we'll do another seminar on it, another webinar, to really help you understand how that works, because it could be a little technical. But this would be done in partnership with one of the local banks. And then now someone asked, how can TEDA benefit your business other than the easy sign-in? Even if you don't have an offering, an e-commerce offering, you can simply use it to build a following. No, that's invaluable. All right. So if you don't want to pay anything, but you want to use the sign-in, but you want some more value, encourage persons when they sign in to follow you, or in your advertising, or wherever you advertise on Facebook, you encourage them to follow you. And now within the app, you can post content to them, you can really engage them actively. And I think that's of tremendous value that you could get at no cost to you, all included in the free package. All right. Someone asked here on your platform, is cryptocurrency payments supported or on the future scope? Um, we've been in communication with the ECCB to implement some support for the cash in there. We've also been in touch with, well, I'm not sure if they'll be coming to Grenada, but that's the main one we've been in contact with to try and do an integration with them. But we wouldn't build out our own crypto payment support, at least not in the short term. But if enough people are asking for it, then it's something we'll consider, but not in the short term to answer your question. But because we do, if when the cash rolls out fully, then you can pay with the cash on the pay on delivery using the pay on delivery option at checkout. All right. Any fees? No. Well, yes. You could start off though on the free plan. You could put up to 3 products and sell them. Of course, the only option to you would be pay on delivery. But if you want to scale beyond 3 products, then you need to take one of the 2 plans. Thanks, Samuel, for the question. Um, Someone asked why not Ethereum, right? And I said um, there has to be a case for it. I'm not too sure how many persons are in Grenada using Ethereum to transact, but it takes considerable resources to build those integrations. So of course there has to be a case. Once we have a case for it, then we can look at it, right? But again, you guys download the app, use it, give us feedback. If you want Ethereum or cryptocurrency integration, you let us know. We'll do the study, we'll do the feasibility to see if it makes the investment is worth it, and then if it is, then of course we'll further engage you to see how exactly you want the integration to work and some of the more details, consulted some of the users. But as I said, it's not something that we're actively considering. Just to give you an idea where we want to go, just to set the expectation, we like to continue building on e-commerce capabilities. We would like for businesses to be able to have a mirror website to the app store. So for persons who selling to persons in the US or wherever, they can share a link and persons could see the directory similar to your own web space, their own e-commerce store. We would like to build that for. We have a design already. We share it. We could share it with you. We could start making the process public. But we have a design, and that's where we will build next. So that other persons are asking about selling to the US, and not everyone we want to download an entire address to buy a product. Although there is huge demand for Grenada products in the diaspora, but we are working on that option to facilitate those people. All right. Okay. So those are all the questions for now. Now, if you have any more questions, you can post it. We'll leave the line open for the next 10 seconds for you to post additional questions. All right, so 10, 9, 8. Okay, so I'll hand it back to Ariel to do a thank you. And guys, from us to you, thank you for being here. We really appreciate you taking the time from your busy schedules to be with us. Have a blessed day.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chad. And that brings us to the end of a very productive webinar. And guys, this is only the first of 2. We're going to have a second episode of this webinar, Building Resilience Through E-commerce, where we dive a little deeper into our other collaboration, the how-to videos that the Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce and Sonover have embarked on together. So thank you so much for giving us your time. Thank you for engaging with us and helping us figure out how we can better serve you. Like Chad informed you earlier, if you have more questions, please leave them in the chat. You guys can find us on Facebook at the Grenada Chamber of Industry and Commerce or Sonover We both have pages. So if you're interested in reaching out to us, please do not be shy. We are so happy and eager to help. And thanks again, guys. Have a good afternoon.